What if the pain you're trying to escape is proof that you're almost ready for what's next? Hi, my name is Dana, and welcome back to Dana's Diaries. So, this week I've been studying the book of Joshua, and one of the things that stood out to me was their circumcision just before conquering Jericho. In the story of Joshua, they crossed the Jordan River into the land of Canaan. They're in the promised land, but they still had to go ahead and take possession of the land. So, one of the things that I noticed is right after they crossed the river of Jordan, the Lord tells Joshua to circumcise the men because this group of people were never circumcised. Their parents were, their parents that died in the wilderness and that didn't come through to the promised land. They were circumcised, but the children weren't. So God tells Joshua to get a flint knife and circumcise the men. And it says that they stayed in the camp until everyone recovered. So circumcision represents the covenant that God has with the children of Israel to always fight for them and always protect them. This is why when David was up against Goliath, he said, "Who is this uncircumcised Philistine who dared to defy the armies of the living God?" David understood the covenant. David understood that because he is circumcised, there is a certain level of protection that he had as an Israelite. So when you see in Joshua, when God tells him to circumcise these men, because they had not been circumcised before, they're getting ready to go and battle and actually just take territory because God had told them that He's handing it to them, He's giving it to them. He's literally going to be fighting the battles for them. But the last step before they go in and actually conquer the land is to get circumcised. And I could just imagine the amount of pain that they were in, camped where they were, trying to recover, just going through the process of the circumcision and then the recovery after the circumcision, where you're basically injured during a circumcision, right? And they're just there. They're just sitting there. They can't go anywhere. They can't do anything really. They're like sitting ducks. They're weakened. They're injured. They're injured men just sitting there waiting. Once they were able to recover was when they were able to go in and conquer Jericho. And I think so many times we are going through situations or we're in situations where it's painful, where God has us sitting. God almost strips us where we have to sit, where we have to just be still and listen to his next step, listen to his directions. And sometimes he just tells you to go and sit somewhere and there's no next step. And a lot might be happening in your life, a lot might be going on. There might be a lot of painful events and painful situations going on. But what if that's the Lord circumcising you? Because the Bible talks about the Lord circumcising our heart. He's taking out the heart of stone and putting a heart of flesh. Because what circumcision is extra layer of skin. And for us today, circumcision is getting rid of the extra layer on our heart so that we can be tender to the voice of God, so that we can be obedient to the voice of God, so that we can hear the Lord clearly and move in accordance to his will and to his plan and to his purpose, and know clearly that this is what the Lord is doing, and know clearly that this is the direction that the Lord is sending you. And many times the circumcision happens just before you go in and conquer. Because here's the thing, when you're going into battle, you want to be able to hear your commander in chief clearly. You want to hear the leader of your army clearly when they're telling you what to do. You don't want to be confused because that could be life or death. You want to be able to hear clearly what God is saying. So the circumcision process is very important, though painful. So you might be going through an intense period of time. You're going through an intense period in your life where it feels like I can't manage it. You feel injured. You feel like a sitting duck. You feel helpless. You feel useless. But what if that's the place that God needs you to be so that you can be obedient to Him, so that you can be in covenant with Him, so that you can walk with Him, so that you can hear His voice and hear Him clearly? Sometimes we go through these periods and we feel like God has abandoned us or left us. But what if that is the period just before the battle and God is just trying to secure His covenant with you, so that when you guys go into battle, you will be handed victory? I think that's what it is. Sometimes the most intense part of the journey happens right before we get the victory. Because one of the things that I've realized is that victory doesn't happen because you get on the battlefield. When it comes to God, victory doesn't happen in the battlefield. Victory happened before the battlefield. When we go to the battle, we're just walking out our victory. We're just fighting from a place of victory. But victory happened way before. And victory tends to happen in the circumcision. Victory tends to happen in the place where you're injured, the place where he has you still, the place where he has you seated. Victory happens there. But then you get to go into battle and you get to fight from a place of victory and just capture whatever is yours. So if you're going through a really tough time right now, if you're going through a painful season, a painful period, consider that this is the intensity right before you go in to battle and right before you go in and take territory of everything that the Lord has given you. So if this spoke to you, comment victory down below and share this with someone who you know needs to hear it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.